Was he not recording any of that?
None of it.
Ah, no!
I'm so sorry. Because you walked in here and we're like, okay, 2 minutes of fight, let's go 10-minute podcast.
Fucking bloopers, bro.
Oh, indeed,
And I have to do that again because the aircon is on.
It's so funny, Mark.
For the third time.
For the third time.
For the final time. And hi!
Woo!
Yes! Third time's the charm for UFC 301.
Yeah, there we go.
And we are here, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of INCS on MMA. And today we are doing UFC 301.
Yes, indeed we are.
So now for this one, the UFC has got a really tough challenge of creating the next pay-per-view after the greatest pay-per-view of all time.
Mm-hmm. And starting us off for UFC Brazil is, like you said, Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. Now, first thing, everyone's complaining about Michael Scott here.
No, God!
How he's getting a title fight. Okay? And I saw this thing. I just want to, hold on. I need my list. Let me tell you why he's getting a title fight.
I'm going to pop it up on the screen now.
Okay. You got, number one is Brandon Royval, who just lost. Brandon Moreno has also 2-fight losing streak. There is Almir Albazi. Okay? Caio France, 2-fight losing streak. Matos Nicolau and Manuel Carp, 5 and 6, both fought each other recently. Carpe won, but he's lost to Pantoja before, so it doesn't matter. You've got Mohamed Mokaev at 7, Alex Perez at 8, who's lost to the champ. Tim Elliott's at 9. No one wants to see Tim Elliott fight for the belt.
And Mokaev just had a really boring performance. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to have the heat behind him to go for a belt.
And then number 10, Steve Erceg, who's coming off that knockout win over Matt Schnell.
Woo!
So it's like everyone's yelling and complaining. I get why you're complaining. He's number 10. But when you go through the list, it's honestly like, who else is there?
I also feel like when you're looking at the flyweight division, this is a division that was almost closed because people were worried about how boring it is.
Dude.
So now every single move that they have to make in the flyweight division has to be a baller move.
Mm-hmm.
Every single move has to be something interesting going forward. Dude. Past the time of Demetrius Johnson, that time of complete dominance, the UFC has just been like, what crazy fights can we put on in the flyweight division? And so far, they've really delivered.
They really have. And I think Alexandre Pantoja is also a great entertaining champ. I think, like you said, Mokaev's coming off that snooze fest. There is Almir Albazi, but they always like to save him for Abu Dhabi. You know, that's his bread and butter.
I'm also pretty sure he's injured or he's set up for a fight already.
Oh, fair enough. But yo, look, there's really no one else. And Steve Erceg, look, he's got a lot of decisions and a lot of submission wins. But he's shown that he's tough, he's durable, and he can put on a show. Alexandre Pantoja, there's not much to say. He's extremely well-rounded. He's very strong for the featherweight division, which has always been to his benefit. Flyweight, sorry. And yeah, he's just a well-rounded champ. You've seen what he can do to Brandon Royval and people like Brandon Moreno. So I think it's going to be a great fight, dude.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great fight. As you say, Steve Erceg is very, very balanced. That's a big thing about the flyweight division. Almost everyone can do everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone's very good at submission defense, very good at striking, very good at wrestling. So I feel like he's very balanced. And we didn't think he was balanced until that last fight against Schnell, where he knocked him out. Oh my God, I had money on Schnell. That hurt, man.
But to be fair, Schnell has proven he doesn't have a strong chin.
That's true. It's true. He has some serious inconsistency issues. Yeah. But hey, man, I was voting for that Schmelly. Wanted that Schmelly to take that. That Schnelly. Anyway, let's dive straight into our co-main event here. We have a bantamweight bout between Jonathan Martinez and José Aldo.
It's a very interesting one. I'm not gonna lie. This to me feels like a how do I say it? Like a young up and comer. You know, fighting just a veteran of the sport. Jonathan Martinez recently came off a win versus Adrian Yanez. He basically put the nail in the coffin of that dude's hype train. But it was cool because he stole all of his thunder. Everyone was like Adrian Yanez, and then he lost to Rob Font, and then he lost to Jonathan Martinez. So now I think it's pretty clever for them. He's got a lot of hype behind him. People know who he is now. Throw him up against someone, José Aldo. Everyone knows who José Aldo is. Like, if you don't know who he is, why are you watching this video? That's all I can say, really. Like, I mean, come on.
So, yeah, I mean, stylistically, I'm not going to talk too much about who these people have fought. As you know, José Aldo's fought a who's who in the UFC.
Exactly.
But stylistically, what we're looking at here is two very intricate technical strikers, two guys who have really great leg kicks. José Aldo showcased that a lot more in the earlier stage of his career, like when he was fighting in the WEC. Jonathan Martinez right now has really been dominating with that leg kick game and that very technical striking.
Yeah.
This is one of those fights for José Aldo, similar to when he fought Jeremy Stevens, similar to when he fought Renato Moicano, where everybody thinks he's old, he's out. It's done, it's time. And he's going to show people, or he wants to show people, that he can turn back the clock and he can dominate a new, young, up-and-coming contender. My
only worry with that is that saying it back then, he proved us all wrong. But, you know, you can't beat Father Time. Time has gone further. And last time Jose fought, was August 2022 against Marab. He lost that fight. So he hasn't fought in about a year and a half. So...
Which isn't the greatest when you're older.
Yeah, which isn't the greatest at his age. And Jonathan Martinez, 6-fight win streak. He's recently got wins over Cub Swanson. He outstruck Saeed Nurmagomedov, which surprised the hell out of me.
Which is insane.
And then he leg kicked the shit out of Adrian Yanez. So, hey man, I'm a little bit worried for Jose, but if somebody can prove me wrong, it's him.
There you go.
You know?
There you go.
So I'm keen, man.
Diving into a light heavyweight bout that we have on this card, it is Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino.
Now, first off, as much as sorry to interrupt, but as much as people love Lionheart, I'm sorry, but they're feeding him to an animal.
Yeah.
Okay. Vitor Petrino is on 11-fight win. He's 11-0. He's undefeated. Okay. He's coming off Dana White's Contender Series, and he's just been beating the shit out of people. Anthony Smith, he's on a bit of a win-loss. His legs are buggered after Magomed Ankalaev just destroyed them. And then recently, Khalil Roundtree beat him up like he owed him money. So I really feel like they're kind of just throwing a big name because, I mean, Anthony Smith is ranked number 10. This Vitor guy's number 15. In fact, Vitor recently retired Tyson Pedro.
Yeah.
Like, that was his last fight, his last win. I think they're just throwing a well-known name against Vitor so that people know who he is and people are like aware of him coming into the top 10. I really think they're just feeding Anthony Smith to this guy.
Yeah, I mean, this one's a really, really tricky one because Anthony Smith as well, he's such a frustrating fighter to watch because sometimes we see him looking like a world-class balanced fighter who can beat anyone. And then other times he's asking Johnny Walker if he broke into his house. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You take my family? You take my family?
So now with Anthony Smith, he has all of the tools and the experience, being probably the most experienced fighter in the light heavyweight division right now.
Yeah.
He has all the tools to do a masterful vintage kind of performance against Vitor Petrino if he gets smart with it. However, most recently, he hasn't been very intellectual, I think. He did say in a recent interview that the manner in which he was picking his fights and thinking about his fights was incorrect because he was so obsessed with getting that title shot. So he was looking past his opponents, which I feel like you can see in a lot of his performances, especially against guys who maybe we thought he should have beaten. A guy like Khalil Roundtree, as much as his striking is incredible, Khalil Roundtree's grappling is mediocre.
Yeah.
And you're a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't understand why he didn't try to immediately go to that, especially as an individual who has more than 45 fights. But yeah,
so true.
As you say, this could be one where the UFC is just feeding a young Vitor Petrino to Anthony Smith to get dominated. And going on to a middleweight bout that we have on this evening is Michel Pereira versus Ihor Potieria. Now, this one is very, very interesting for one reason, okay? We've got two guys who are pretty crazy. we got two guys who are pretty wild right here.
That's very true.
Michel Pereira is known as being one of the craziest, most acrobatic fighters in the UFC. He was in the welterweight division. He kept on missing weight. Now he's in the middleweight division, still doing backflips. Yeah. And he is on a 4 or 5 fight win streak.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. He's doing extremely well, and he's going up against Ihor Potieria, who is the man who ended the career of Shogun Rua and then did a weird dance afterwards.
Yeah, that's what it's the only thing he'll forever be known for is when he disrespected Shogun Rua with that dance. But so yeah, this fight came about because Michel Pereira's opponent withdrew, and Ihor Potieria was going to be fighting that new guy, the one-eyed dude, the pirate. Russian Dagestani.
We'll put him on the screen.
Forgot his name. They were
going
to fight each other for the world's ugliest beard. But now that fight got cancelled. I'm not wrong. Sorry, Ihor, bro, just cut the beard, please. But yeah, they were going to fight each other. That fight got cancelled, so now they just put these two together. I'll be honest with you, dude. Ihor Potieria he's got to win this fight. he came off Dana White's Contender Series. He lost his debut fight. He retired Shogun Ihor, and then he lost 2 more, and then he won his most recent fight.
I don't know how this fight's going to go because also stylistically, Potieria is known for those crazy kicks. Michel Pereira is known for that crazy movement.
Yeah.
So whether or not the movement's going to nullify the kicks or is the kicks going to nullify the movement, I don't know, both of these guys knock people out, but it's not like they have great hands.
True. But also Ihor gets knocked out. His 2 losses are just KOs. So,
exactly. And
Pereira has knocked people out. So yeah. We shall see.
Right, and starting off our card is a really great fight. Like, I'm so excited for this fight.
I'm so excited for this, dude.
It's Paul Craig,
the Bear Jew,
versus Borralho. Now, this one is super, super spicy because essentially you have got Paul Craig, the man with the greatest guard game in the history of the UFC, versus Borralho, who is a hot, up-and-coming middleweight contender who has basically been very, very, very balanced in the manner in which he's been fighting. He looks like he's good at everything, and everybody's really, really, really excited to see what he's going to do in the middleweight division right now.
Yeah, 100%. So Paul Craig, you know, he recently moved down to middleweight. He was always one of the smaller light heavyweights, let's be real.
Yeah.
He won his debut fight, and then he lost his most recent fight. He won his debut fight, and then they were like, oh yeah, listen, we only have room for 1 interesting grappler per division. So go fight Brendan Allen. So he's coming off of that loss. And like you said, Borralho, I think he's been really smart, dude. He came in around the same time as Dricus, but obviously with less experience. And he's just been fighting a lot of the lower guys. He's been taking his time. He's been, you know, like you said, I think he's just been slowly rounding out his skills, getting better at everything. And now he's ready for like the top 15. Because there was a point where he was calling out Dricus back when they both just got there. And look where Dricus is. So I think this is a great fight for Caio. I think this is a very similar fight to Anthony Smith versus Vitor, where Paul Craig's a name you know. He just got to the middleweight division. This is a fight where it's like, are you here to make a name in the middleweight division, or are you just going to get thrown aside? Borralho, you might have made top 15, or so you just made top 15. You get a well-known name like Paul Craig under your belt. Everyone starts taking you seriously. Yes.
Yeah, and stylistically, basically, we were joking about Paul Craig, but his submission game on his back end guard is it's crazy.
That's insane.
He's tapped out Magomed Ankalaev. He's tapped out Jamal Hill. He broke Jamal Hill's arm. Dislocated, sorry. It looks like a break. Look at the clip.
It's a wet noodle.
Look at it.
Just flubbing.
And then Borralho, as you're saying, I feel like he is a very smart guy. I feel like his approach to fighting is very smart as well. And you saw that particularly in his last fight where he slowed down the pace of the fight. He knew he was against a guy who might have had a higher level of grappling than him. So he kind of treated it like, I'm going to point fight. I'm going to win each individual round. I'm going to make sure that I do what I need to do to get myself to the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one, a lot of people are going to be sleeping on this one. The one thing I have to say about Paul Craig, though, is he is so limited in the rest of his facet of his game. And I think that is the problem with Paul Craig, is his striking is not very good. Yeah. His clinch work is not very good. Even if you have him on the ground, but not in guard, like in something else, he gets chowed as well.
That's true.
Against high-level grapplers. Yeah. So it's like he's so good in one place, but he's very, very limited because of it. All right. And that is INCS on MMA. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we will see you at the next UFC pay-per-view.
Woo!
Woo!
Sweet.